flow of air around the storm. All right, look at the wider view here, and you can see where this is going. So it's going, here's the cone. It looks like it might be going a little to the left side of the cone, but when it gets to the northern coast, now you have winds coming like this back into Montego Bay. The Montego Bay Airport is right on the water, but it's kind of a berm protecting the runway from the Caribbean. But when the wind comes in from this side.
Born leader? Us too. Innovation keeps us ahead of the pack. It's the reason we're the largest graduate DPT program in the U.S. The University of St. Augustine for Health Sciences DPT program. Become a leader with the leader.
And the winds, elevated winds, maybe at 1,000 feet or so, were measured at 250 miles per hour. That's the highest they've ever been measured in any storm. Of course, we have new instruments now and maybe better instruments, but incredible winds that are going to affect these higher elevations. Like I said, a 30-mile wide tornado is what we have going on here from this area here, Black River and New Hope and White House here on up on across the island. All right, so here's where it is now, just past landfall as a Category 5. Here you can see where the tropical storm force winds, these are tropical storm force winds in the yellow. These are hurricane force gusts in the orange there. So the wind is coming around like this, and it's blowing the water still into Kingston Harbor. Winds in Kingston are up in the 25 to 30 mile per hour range, gusts higher than that, but they're continuous from the south, so that's going to push water into the harbor. It's going to make it harder for the water from the rain to drain, so we still have this flood threat, but the major impacts for this thing, the flood threat can be significant in Kingston, but the wind, flood, and storm surge in the western part of the country are going to be just critical. Then the system moves about 4 p.m. today, should be on the coast up here, moving north. But remember, a circulation like this, bringing the water into Montego Bay, and then we're going to worry about elevation there in the airport and so forth. Even though it's on the weak side of the storm, the west side would be the weak side of the storm, but when you have a Category 5 hurricane, you're still talking about a strong, strong storm. And then it moves out, so you get the hurricane force gusts leaving about 8 p.m., and then the whole thing is gone about 2 a.m. So we'll see what happens tomorrow morning, or they'll see what happens tomorrow morning when they can finally see, because odds are there's not going to be a lot of electricity on Jamaica after this storm goes through. All right, in terms of the rain, you can see there's two areas, one on the highest mountains over here catching the moisture, but up in the mountains here north of Black River and Mandeville, and then on the other side you have Ocho Rios and Montego Bay. This is where the moisture gets caught initially on this side as the winds come this way, and then on the other side as the winds come around that way. So look at this close up in this Black River area. Remember, it made landfall just up here. So the wind coming around like this, and notice this flat plain here. See how low this is right in here? That's where the Black River comes down, and this is all a flood zone right in here. So no doubt water is pushing in there, kind of surrounding the town of Black River, but also rainwater drains down like this and conflicts with that. So this is a high flood zone here. Much of the town of Black River is elevated, but then there's this coastal communities here and Treasure Beach down here, obviously seriously threatened by storm surge, not to mention the water running downhill out of the mountains. And in Kingston, less rain now forecast for Kingston itself, but up in the mountains, all that water up there, and maybe a foot to a foot and a half of water in the mountains, all has to come down. And so you can see here's the drainage where it comes out into Kingston Harbor. So it kind of comes these various areas here like this, draining down through the city. Can the gullies, they're called, in Kingston deal with that? This is what remains to be seen, and this is the big concern there. All right, there's the storm surge. We talked about that over in this area here, Black River, and over to near this Portland Point here, the maximum storm surge here in St. Elizabeth Parish. We're just fearful for anything being remaining there along the coast from Treasure Beach on up toward Black River. Downstream, we have Cuba ahead, and that's a major city there, Santiago de Cuba and Guantanamo Bay, of course, and then central and southeastern Bahamas under hurricane warnings. Fringe effects here for wind, Turks and Caicos and Haiti still dealing with the effects of this storm. So there's the forecast for Cuba, 115 mile an hour category 3. Santiago de Cuba is right on the right side. There's Guantanamo Bay right there. And then moving forward through the Bahamas, category 2-ish, and that's going to happen. So when it says Wednesday p.m., it means in the afternoon tomorrow. And then moving on to Bermuda and moving quickly by this time. So this would be Thursday p.m., be Thursday afternoon, Thursday into Friday by the time it gets up to Bermuda. So Bob, an historic event here today that we've been witnessing. We'll never, I don't think, ever see a hurricane more pristine than we saw with this one before it made landfall here. Just almost, like you would draw an annular hurricane there that was just a perfect circle. Incredible.
Yeah. I mean, the conditions in the Caribbean, we knew they were untapped, and unfortunately, that is the end result. Brian Norcross, right. Excellent report. Very good. Thank you very much. All right, coming up, we got more live reports. Brian Norcross is going to be here throughout the afternoon. Take us through it because we've got that. The Bahamas, we're going to see that later on tomorrow. Cuba's up next after Jamaica. Some pictures right here coming in from Kingston. Not quite as bad, obviously, as it was about 2 hours ago. But you talk about the west side of Jamaica. They are getting slammed. They have a Category 5 sitting over the country right now. One of the strongest hurricanes we've ever seen. Live reports from that island nation coming up pretty soon. Be right back, everybody.
Are you getting the most from your Medicare plan?
It's overwhelming, actually.
Really confusing. It was always a struggle for us trying to narrow it down.
With Matchfinder by eHealth, it's easy to see if you could get more coverage for less money. So we invited people to give it a try.
This is the first time I'll be able to see the major plans side by side.
Put your doctors in, put your prescriptions in.
I'd like to add a doctor. Oh, and there he is.
Yeah, that's a good deal right there.
I'm all about saving money.
See if you could get more for less with a new Medicare plan. Go to eHealth.com and try Matchfinder. Compare your current plan to new 2026 plans from the nation's top insurance companies. Enter your doctors and prescriptions and choose from plans ranked for you by cost, coverage, and satisfaction. Or call this number to compare plans with the help of an eHealth advisor. They're paid the same no matter which Medicare Advantage plan you choose.
Thanks for calling eHealth. How can I help you today?
One thing I'm looking for is lowering prescription costs.
Awesome. We can do this together. This looks like this is going to be pretty cost effective for your prescriptions. So you're saving money across the board while also increasing your benefits. What do you think?
All right, sounds good. Thank you. That was amazing. I mean, it's a great plan.
How was that?
It was easy.
And would you recommend this to other folks?
Heck yeah, if they're paying high prices like I am now. Well, let me tell you, go to these guys.
Call this number for your Medicare plan comparison or get started at eHealth.com. Either way, it's always a free service.
They weren't pushing just one plan. They're going to look for what's perfect for you.
It's going to save me close to about $400 or $500 a year.
The Matchfinder, that's the greatest idea I've seen in a long time.
The fact that it was free makes it a whole lot better.
Call 1-800-835-1694 to compare Medicare plans in your area or visit eHealth.com.
eHealth, your Medicare matchmaker.
I was drowning in debt.
I didn't even know how I was going to buy food for my kids.
I had over $36,000 in debt. If I would have just made the minimum payments, it would have taken me 59 years to pay off. I knew I wasn't going to be able to get out of debt myself.
I picked up the phone and called National Debt Relief. They were my savior.
Whether it's credit card, medical, or personal loan debt, National Debt Relief negotiates with your creditors to reduce the amount you owe.
National Debt Relief was able to reduce my debt by over $21,000.
From the minute I made the call to National Debt Relief, I felt immediate relief. They had a plan for me.
They treated me like a real person, not a number.
It really was a team working with me.
National Debt Relief negotiated with all of my creditors and reduced the amount that I owe. And I'm now debt-free.
If you owe more than $10,000, call or visit nationaldebtrelief.com to find out how you can become debt-free.
A very new video coming in right here from a resort in Lucia. You can see as Melissa's making landfall in Jamaica. This is probably before the heaviest winds came screaming in, but this is brand new video from the resort. And you can see the palm trees are taking a beating, dancing around a little bit, but you can see a lot of rain. The visibility absolutely poor in this region. I'm not exactly sure where this was taken in regards to the actual landfall of the storm and what time it was. That's northwest side of where it came in. So it was actually, wow. Look at I'm just looking at it with you guys right now. Visibility looks pretty poor. And we're going to see this continue as it rides right up from the Caribbean over Jamaica and ultimately into Cuba later on this evening and overnight tonight, then to the Bahamas, and then Turks and Caicos. You talk about that region getting brushed, and then right through to Bermuda by Thursday night and a Friday. So here's the latest, and we're going to get the 2 o'clock advisory coming in here shortly, but what's still remarkable is just this, 185-mile-per-hour winds. That pressure is continuing to drop. It was at 992. I imagine now that it's over land, the 2 o'clock advisory pressure is going to go up a little bit. Wind should start coming down just a touch as well. Most likely peaked right when it was making landfall, unfortunately for Jamaica. 185-mile-per-hour winds, still just absolutely incredible. I haven't seen anything like this in quite some time. All right. Here's what it looks like officially near New Hope, Jamaica. Again, there was a sandals resort there, apparently, so people were taking shelter there, apparently. Category 5 hurricane, 185-mile-per-hour max sustained winds. When you got to cross the mountains, you're talking about 240, 250-mile-per-hour winds. And Brian Norcross was just talking about it, right? And he hit it right on the nose. You're talking about when the hurricane hunters were flying through, dropping the recorders of how much wind there is. About 1,000 feet up, the winds were clocked at 250 miles per hour. That's 1,000 feet up. These mountains are well above that. You're talking about these mountains going up over 6,000 feet. So clearly, these mountaintops are going to see winds gusting to over 200 miles per hour. That's just going to be incredible. It's going to be devastating. It's going to be very sad. We start seeing these pictures coming in by either late today or tomorrow. So where is...
From food-grade lubricants to LED lighting and every product in between, all in one place and easy to order. Call, click, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
In 2005, that was in the Western Caribbean. After it hit Jamaica, it just strengthened up right before it hit the Yucatan, if you can remember that. Gilbert, that was back in 1988. So some of the paths, the Labor Day storm again, 1935, rivals this one right here, and they still talk about the infrastructure right there in South Florida getting decimated with that storm. This one is going to be just as bad for Jamaica. Montego Bay, they are up next. You can see they're now getting buzzed by the outer eye wall almost. Give it another hour or two, and you start seeing the outer eye wall approach into Montego Bay. Robert Ray is to the northeast in there, so his conditions are really going to start going down here also. But here's the way it looks right now. The back edge of the eye is almost back on shore. So if you were out there, let's just say, for instance, you were sitting right here, it's clear skies at this point. It looks nice. You can see the wall around you for sure, and the eye itself goes out over 10 miles. But now you can see the back edge coming around, and it's coming wind direction-wise in the exact opposite of what it hit you before. So everything that's loosened up being blown this way is going to get torn apart as it blows the other way real quickly. Here's what it looks like on that visible satellite imagery. Zoom right into it, and you're getting that land effect right now. Remember, these are all mountains, so that's going to disrupt the airflow as it comes in off the Caribbean and starts getting messed up just a bit. You can see a little oblong face right there. That's what we've got going on across the board. So, yeah, that's what we're watching across western part of Cuba. But storm shelters have been set up for those trapped in Melissa's path for a while now. Storm has made landfall, and it was catastrophic as it blew ashore earlier. Fox Weather spoke to a couple trapped on the island about their experience dealing with the storm so far. Check it out.
Everyone wanted to make sure people stay calm, don't, panic, but we didn't really have an evacuation plan. We knew that they were turning the convention center that you saw before boarded into the evacuation center. We were informed, you would be in this space, this area, but once it was time to evacuate, people were supposed to leave at 9:30. They were showing up at 6 o'clock, standing in the rain, panicking, people being turned away, trying to push through the door. All plans change. You have people here with children, you know, elderly. And so there's actually where this convention center is, there's an upstairs area, but downstairs there's a movie theater, and they have people, imagine a movie theater, they're in there. And the panic for them, and the lady was yelling out, I was in Katrina, I don't want to experience that again.
Oh, no.
And so you have mindsets, you know, and so we're upstairs. So the flooding portion, we feel like we may be safe, but the winds have picked up. You can hear, to see the boarding behind us. It's, you can hear the winds going by. So it has been a huge change. Flights, everything have been.
So it's a lot of anxiety around here because last night we thought we heard wind, but that was just the blow dryer in the bathroom. But being in this area, the lobby area, you can actually hear the 70-mile-per-hour wind pushing against the boards. And there's some leaking in the roofs as well.
All over the building. Everyone kind of first got into the building. They said, listen, we're going to do numerous announcements. So try and stay calm, bear with us. There's a big projectors in each room. So imagine a big ballroom, and there are partitions, four ballrooms, where the big partition is about 80 people in each room. So they have projectors in there. So they're going in, pulling up the map, kind of showing people where it is right now, when it's projected to hit. You're going to be okay, stay safe. They're letting us know they have plenty of food and water, they said. And obviously we'll deal with the day as it kind of comes, and they said they've never experienced anything like this, so they're like, bear with them. That's their main comment.
And the cool and calmness of Jamaicans is also what's keeping us calm, because as we were getting closer and closer to the evacuation, all they played was reggae music, and it was real soothing and calm. And the employees here have been really, really accommodating and like really, really nice and just like even killed. So big blessings to like everybody that's working through this.
Because it got chaotic because there was a lot of misinformation with the evacuation plan. But literally, they're like, please just stay calm with us, because they're like, we're actually nervous too. So
we just did our first night last night on those cots and everything.
And remember, downstairs is the movie theater, so where they spent their night in movie theater seats. And I'm not, no reclining, like, so that's where we are on that side. They gave us a sheet. We brought over our blanket and a pillow, and that's all we have. They said, bring your essentials. So, as you said, IDs, passports,
one change of clothes.
And that's just one room. It's about 3 or 4 more of those. And that looks very organized. Just imagine people are sprawled out all over the place now. I did have a moment, because this is just real conversation, and I want you all to understand mentally where our minds go. I talk to my sister and I tell her, hey, you're our emergency contact. The U.S. Embassy, if anything happens, they'll be letting you know if we can't contact you. And she says, okay, Dawn, let's have a real talk. Am I getting your girls if something happens to the 2 of you? We have a 6 and 2-year-old. And I just break down crying, because I'm like, oh my gosh, this is a real thing. So that's where we are. I mean, at any moment, anything just triggers the fact that this is real. And so the helpful thing is we have each other. We have the other members, of the group that I'm here with, that, you're able to kind of have a little fun moment. And then it's the emotional roller coaster.
Yeah, you just feel for it, right? Some video coming in right here from the Black River. Just want to share it with you one more time. Not exactly sure the time frame when this was. I'm pretty sure it's not when the direct eye wall was overhead. It's just ramping things up. But look at what it did to the structures right here. You're talking about sheet metal flying through the air. This person's taking the video. It looks like right by some glass. So I'm thinking most likely this is right before the worst of it hit them. Either way, you can see the intensity as it picked up right there. So what are we looking at? That's the Black River area. Got the satellite imagery on here right now. The entire core just about is over western part of Jamaica right now. That's the Black River. That's where that video came from. And you can see what it looks like if you're sitting there wondering how long is it going to be over land. It is gradually picking up and moving to the north-northeast at about 9 miles per hour. So give it another 2-3 hours, and the entire core is going to be edging out across the ocean again, across the Caribbean Sea, ultimately getting into the warmer water, where it's going to retain its strength as it heads towards Cuba later on. Will it be this strong once it hits Cuba? Probably not, because we've got all that land interaction going on right now. Plus, it's going to start running into a little bit of shear from the north and west later on in the period. So that also should help buzz this thing down. But it's a land interaction right here. It's the only thing that's slowing it down. Unfortunately, that land interaction is Jamaica. Here's the way it goes by the Black River. Look at that eye walls. It moves on ashore. You can see the darker shade right there. Also, if you look at it right here, right, the first few frames, when you're looking at the darkness, that is the Caribbean Sea right there. There's the coastline. Once it gets inland, that's when you start seeing the land underneath that. So still clear skies in that eye as it peels away. I'm actually going to move. I have to move it up now because it has moved directions now. It's moving up to the north-northeast at about 9 miles per hour. We should start seeing another update here within the next 7 or 8 minutes. So something we're watching. Who's up next? Montego Bay. And it's very hard to tell if you're going to take a direct hit on the dirty side. The dirty side is that northeastern quadrant, but you can see where it's headed towards you, right up in that region. So I'm going to pause this, the last frame. This area right there, this is the bad quadrant you're talking about. Either way, you're still looking at wind wrapping around this thing at over 185 miles per hour at times, especially in the higher gusts. Unbelievable. All right, still to come. Northeast of there, we've got some wind going towards Robert Ray. We'll show you that in just a bit. But I want to start out right here with Weather for Heroes, brought to you by Tunnel to Towers. And we're going to go up there to Norfolk. That's Virginia Beach right there. The rain has been heavy at times. Naval Station Norfolk, I want to give you the forecast over the next couple of days because they got a coastal low that's pulling in right now. The rain has been heavy. Another one coming in, same one on Wednesday, and then possibly getting some stronger showers, maybe some thunderstorms out there for Thursday. PT outside. It's going to be a wet one for today, tomorrow, all the way out through Thursday afternoon. So that's the forecast for you guys. We appreciate your service for sure. All right, still to come, we're Fox Weather, your Hurricane HQ. We've got our eyes on Melissa, a Category 5 storm, almost entirely overland the core of it across Jamaica. You can see the eye as it rolls very slowly through the western part of that country. Where does it go next? And we've got a live shot right there from St. Anne's Bay. That's who's next. That's coming up in just a little bit. Be right back.
An important message for Americans ages 50 to 85.
You seen that life insurance thing I got in the mail?
From Colonial Penn?
Yeah, that's it.
It's over there.
The recycle bin. I sent for this.
You're buying life insurance now? Have you been to the grocery store lately? The last thing we need is another bill.
That's exactly why we need life insurance. If something happens to either of us, those bills won't go away. Life insurance can help pay them. Funeral costs, too. Take a look at this. It costs pennies a day.
That's right. Rates for Colonial Penn Life Insurance start at $9.95 a month. That's 35 cents a day. And this is one bill you know will never go up. A lifetime rate lock guarantees it. Your rate is guaranteed, and so is your acceptance. That makes applying quick and easy. There are no medical questions, no physical exam. Since you can't be turned down, we don't ask about your health. And this is lifetime coverage. It never expires. Just pay your bill, and it's yours to keep for as long as you'd like.
This is the application. There's nothing to it. No health questions. What's this?
Free beneficiary planner. When we fill it out, all our important information and final wishes will be in one place.
The kids will appreciate that.
Call for more information and your free gift today. Read how easy it is to get life insurance from Colonial Penn. Even if you have pre-existing conditions or fixed income, it's easy and risk-free. Every policy we issue comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Call now to learn more. You have nothing to lose.
Call 1-800-248-2839 for free information and a free beneficiary planner. That's 1-800-248-2839. There's no obligation. 1-800-248-2839. Call now.
Running payroll, adding benefits. Hi, I'm you with more gusto.
What is good, nuts and bolts, fam? Let's get this shop rolling.
We hired a social media manager? Oh yeah, Gusto made it easy. Payroll, benefits, 401k, done. And spoiler, we're kind of famous. Wait, so we're famous. We're famous. How famous?
Famous. Get the payroll small businesses are talking about. Choose a future with Gusto. I'm so posting that.
This is a story about the one. The one who looks to Grainger to make sparks fly. Getting it done right is a craft. It takes experience, the right material, and the right partner like Grainger with a wide range of professional-grade products. For the one, working hard means others can play even harder. Call, click Grainger.com.
Best description for Doris Market would be the gourmet market without the gourmet prices. From the fresh produce department, we have the best meats in town, our fresh seafood, which is delivered daily. We have our in-house kitchen that produces all of our homemade prepared foods. We have an in-house scratch bakery that is second to none in South Florida. along with all of our specialty groceries. It's a real privilege to have a business where your family is working side by side with you.
Towards New Hope. That's where it made landfall officially at about 1 o'clock this afternoon. Western Jamaica taking a direct hit right now. The entire core is over land. It is weakening a touch, but not much. It's going to head towards Montego Bay, St. Anne's Bay, where we have our live reporter Robert Ray stationed. We'll go to him here shortly as well. I've got meteorologist Kiana Lewis joining me right now. Bob Van Dillen, great to see you this afternoon. And Kiana, good stuff. And if you've been following along, you saw just this tightening up as it went across Jamaica and the pressure dropping all the while.
I mean, this is now what, top 3 in terms of pressure being so intense. I mean, this is a monstrous storm, and for it to move over an area where the infrastructure is already very iffy is the scary part about this.
That's a good point. And I guess the only saving grace for Jamaica is that the most populated part of the country is on the east side. But still, if you're in the way of Montego Bay, you're still looking at a Category 5, almost on top of you at this point. Give it a couple of hours, and you can start seeing these winds gusting to Category 3, 4 strength. You can see Category 5 still. The 2 o'clock advisory, we knew it was going to happen, right? You said it before when you walked in the door. It's that land interaction right here.
Yes, so thankfully that land interaction is kicking into full gear right now. We're starting to see the storm kind of weaken. Even though the winds are down 20 miles per hour, this is significantly better than what it was maybe a half an hour ago. And that pressure's starting to rise there too. And that's what we want to see in a weakening storm. Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's get live out there right now. We've got Robert Ray, our Fox weather correspondent. He's hanging out also with Jared Maloney. This is kind of close to where he is, Lucia. Jamaica is just to the west of him on the top side of the island. And you could see this. When Robert was reporting earlier this morning, the conditions were not like this. Robert, things have changed.
Yeah. They sure have. You know, we've got the landfall, and now we're starting to see what we expected and anticipated all morning and into this afternoon is these winds beginning to pick up and the driving rain that comes alongside with that. It's only going to deteriorate even more where we're at right now in north central Jamaica, about 50 miles to the east of Montego Bay. And Montego Bay is in trouble, according to the trajectory of this massive historic Hurricane Melissa Cat 5 that made that landfall, about an hour ago in Hope City, southwest Jamaica at 185 miles per hour. Good to hear that the winds have dropped down about 20 miles an hour to 165, but nonetheless, guys, the variables on that, well, everything is going to be catastrophic that is in the path of Hurricane Melissa at this point. The interesting, or maybe concerning thing, I should say, is in Montego Bay, there are about 25,000 tourists that are hunkered down in those resorts and hotels. That's according to the Minister of Tourism office. They sent that note to me a little earlier. They are trying to take care of the health and safety of all these people that could not get out on airplanes in the past few days, as the country of Jamaica, nearly 3 million people, and all the officials here have been preparing for this moment, this impact moment. But the confusing and unsettling part of all of this is the fact that, you know, the different wobbles and the meandering Melissa over the past several days have just been so unpredictable at this point, and hard to figure out exactly where we would see a landfall and the biggest impacts. I could tell you right now, where we are at in St. Anne Parish, we are officially out of power. It is gone. It was going in and out all morning, and now it is done. We are in the black here, and we will go into that as the darkness falls and try to maintain our signal and our communications as best as we can, guys. Power in the island, at least as of 2-3 hours ago, according to officials, unless there's an update that I've missed, it was approaching 50% of all the island out of power. Communications is failing as well. Well over a quarter of the mobile cellular services are gone. You know, if there's any silver lining to this, it's the fact that Kingston, the capital, about 1 million people that live there, you know, that was originally thought to be taking a real hardcore wind field. It is not going to do that. Of course, flash flooding is on the table, with feet of rain coming down and sliding down those mountains and creating flash flooding scenarios and degradation of roads. But I say that that's a silver lining only because the airport may be spared in Kingston, and that is going to be key to the fact that humanitarian aid may be able to get in here faster than anticipated. If that airport does not able to open up, and Montego Bay Airport, which it looks like is going to be in big time trouble, then we are in for it for multiple days until we can figure out how to get help into this great island of nearly 3 million people, because they're going to need it. We may have a humanitarian crisis on our hands, especially in the Montego area, with all the tourists and the residents and infrastructure that is ripped apart. There is no infrastructure that can handle winds like this, nowhere in the world, certainly. So as I stand here now, driving rain that is coming off the mountainside, and by the way, about 15 or so miles right outside of here, still in St. Anne Parish, up the mountain, we are getting pictures of submerged homes with water up to the roof line and roads already in peril. A quarter mile down the road from where I'm at, the Caribbean Sea and the roadway that leads into Montego, about 50 miles, and dotted on each side of the roadway are businesses and then homes and neighborhoods up and down. We hope that those structures can last based upon the wind field, but the closer you get to Montego Bay, the less likely that is going to be for any structure that is not fortified. Our team right now is sitting inside of a garage in a concrete home, but they are safe and able to broadcast. But we have water coming into the home because of the driving force rains, and no power, unfortunately, right now. That's the situation that we're going through, and so many people around this island nation of Jamaica right now. I mean, we'll continue to try to get as many updates as possible and give them to you, but as this progresses, I fear the communications will falter. That just is an obvious with a storm of this magnitude. Bob and Kiana?
Yeah, Robert, great reporting out there. We knew the power was going to go out. It's out right now. You talked about the flooding. We knew it's going to be storm surge around Montego Bay. And you talked about some of those houses starting to get submerged. Is that storm surge you're talking about, or is that the freshwater rain coming down?
No, freshwater rain. Freshwater rain down from the mountainside. So in St. Anne Parish, about 15 or so miles. It's hard to tell exactly how far because of the roadways make a lot of winds and bends here. But all that water that is coming down off of the mountains, just going into these communities and inundating these homes. I mean, the pictures that we saw were homes where literally the water was almost above some of the roof lines. And the problem is that all this water's got to go somewhere. For example, I mean, I'm standing on a slope here, probably hard to tell with the camera shot, but I can look to my left, to your right, and see water beginning to rush down this roadway. There's a sewer right over here. I won't be able to walk over there because the camera is tucked deep in this garage, but the sewer is actually handling it okay. That is incredible news. But at some point in the coming hours, it's likely that sewer is not going to be able to handle it, and we may see maybe a foot of water move down this hill and head toward the Caribbean. And that's another issue, is that roadway that goes into Montego, the inundation from all this water slide, so to speak, will have real problems for structures as well. So it's not just the wind field, it's the water that can bang up against the structures and deteriorate the base and the infrastructure at the bottom. And then you have a wind field that can take roofs off as well. So there's just so many variables and so many dangers out here, and it's terrifying for all the locals. I just pray that people that needed to evacuate the southwestern shores did so and got to higher ground, went into the shelters that the country of Jamaica created for them. And if not, I just don't know what the outcome is going to be.
Yeah, Ray, Robert, I can hear it in your voice. I mean, it's hard for me to concentrate even knowing that you're in that area right now. I want you to obviously stay safe for sure, but it's just the fact that already houses are getting inundated, and it's only half the storm that's come in rainfall-wise. There's still another half to go. Right. I mean, this is going to be a story that's just going to be epic, Robert.
And let me just say one other thing, guys, if I could. I mean, darkness comes here. We're an hour behind East Coast time. Darkness really starts to come around 5 o'clock, okay, local time. And honestly, we're going to be in it hardcore at that time. And then the backside, even after the storm, you know, heads off of the island, it may continue to be a Cat 5 the entire time. But that backside tonight in the darkness, and you'll hear transformers blow, and you won't be able to see debris flying through the air because it's pitch black. There's no power. It's very scary. So anybody watching, and by the way, I know a lot of Jamaicans are tuning into Fox Weather. Everywhere we've gone the past few days, we've seen Fox Weather up in a gas station, convenience stores, restaurants, hotels, and so many people streaming us as well to get the information from our reporting, this team. But if you're watching this and you're in Jamaica, do not even think about going out tonight. You don't know what's going to fly through the air. Please just hunker down and wait till morning, until the light comes up and you can assess. Please take that guidance.
You know, Robert, you talked about a lot about the rain and the flood threat, and you just mentioned the wind. And I kind of want to ask you what your plan is, because where you are in respect to the storm, you're kind of in that northeast quadrant where we see the worst of the winds. What does that plan look like for you heading into tonight? I know things aren't as wild as they can be in terms of winds now, but that's going to change.
Well, I tell you what, and I know it's fluid right now. Do you, is someone get in my ear, do we have access to the second camera that we have? Because what I can do is I can grab that second camera. You do? Okay, stand by.
Listen,
It's frozen.
Robert, there's nobody
Okay,
better than
I think
you.
that's-
I trust you. What's that?
So here's what I wanted to say. Here's what I wanted to say, and Kiana and Bob. So our Wi-Fi is done because of the power. So that camera is frozen. We won't be able to get a signal out. But I will tell you this: the home. Here, you know what? I got a picture of the home, and I want to show everybody. I'm going to come close. Pete, come here. I'm going to pull up my iPhone, and I want you to see the home that we're in and the situation that we're in. This is the home. Okay, hang on. Stand by, guys. 1 second.
Right now, your support brings help to those in need and shares Israel's true story with a world that needs to hear it. This is your moment to comfort God's people and remind them they are not alone. Take action. Stand with Israel today.
Someone in Atlanta, and we came upon it on a very lucky situation yesterday. So we think we're good, but anything could happen.
Yeah, Robert, in my opinion, you're the best out there. I love watching. I love talking to you about it. You always do such a great job. You, Jared, and Pete, we will check back in with you as long as we can. We know it's a fluid situation. Try to stick with us as much as you can, Robert.
Yeah.
Great stuff, my friend.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, that's a dream team out there.
Yeah, you guys do such a great job. And Fox Weather is being streamed in Jamaica for a reason, because we're out there with the boots on the ground. Robert Ray is always there. Kiana, you're here too.
Yeah, absolutely. I have to also mention a lot of folks in the Lesser Antilles watching us too. I've been getting a lot of direct messages about that too. They just love our coverage, all of the deep dives that we've been doing.
Listen, there's nobody better. We're doing it for you because we're going to be here the entire time. It's a Category 5 storm directly over Jamaica right now, and it's going to be there for the next several hours. We've got more reports coming up after the break. We are Fox Weather, your Hurricane HQ, and it's not just Jamaica. It's going to be Cuba. It's going to be the Bahamas, Turks and Caicos, and then up to Bermuda. We've got a cover for you guys coming up right after the break.
Yeah, dude, that doesn't look good. I know what to do. I'm going to cashnetusa.com. I can apply in minutes, and if approved, I can have the money as soon as the same business day.
Go to cashnetusa.com to apply for the money you need.
Are you getting the most from your Medicare plan?
It's overwhelming, actually.
Really confusing. It was always a struggle for us trying to narrow it down.
With Matchfinder by eHealth, it's easy to see if you could get more coverage for less money. So we invited people to give it a try.
This is the first time I'll be able to see the major plans side by side. Put your doctors in, put your prescriptions in.
I'd like to add a doctor. Oh, and there he is.
Yeah, that's a good deal right there.
I'm all about saving money.
See if you could get more for less with the new Medicare plan. Go to eHealth.com and try Matchfinder. Compare your current plan to new 2026 plans from the nation's top insurance companies. Enter your doctors and prescriptions and choose from plans ranked for you by cost, coverage, and satisfaction. Or call this number to compare plans with the help of an eHealth advisor. They're paid the same no matter which Medicare Advantage plan you choose.
Thanks for calling eHealth. How can I help you today?
One thing I'm looking for is lowering prescription costs.
Awesome. We can do this together. This looks like this is going to be pretty cost effective for your prescriptions. So you're saving money across the board while also increasing your benefits. What do you think?
All right, sounds good. Thank you. That was amazing. I mean, it's a great plan.
How was that?
It was easy.
And would you recommend this to other folks?
Heck yeah, if they're paying high prices like I am now. Well, let me tell you, go to these guys.
Call this number for your Medicare plan comparison or get started at eHealth.com. Either way, it's always a free service.
They weren't pushing just one plan. They're going to look for what's perfect for you.
It's gonna save me close to about $400 or $500 a year.
The Match Finder, that's the greatest idea I've seen in a long time.
The fact that it was free makes it a whole lot better.
Call 1-800-835-1694 to compare Medicare plans in your area or visit eHealth.com.
eHealth, your Medicare matchmaker.
They say time is money. What if you had more of it? Gusto saves you 2 days every month on payroll, taxes, and compliance. So you can go from making payroll to making cinnamon rolls, filing taxes to relaxing, compliance regulations to family celebrations. The other guys charge per payroll run. They might even charge you to switch. Not us. Gusto saves you money and time, the one thing you can't earn more of. Choose a future with Gusto and get more time for what matters. Get started for free at gusto.com.
What should we do?
I'm going to CashNetUSA.com. I can apply in minutes, and if approved, we can have the money as soon as the same business day.
Go to CashNetUSA.com to apply for the money you need.
Welcome back. If you haven't seen this video, some of the newer video we've seen, we're going to continue to get new videos in throughout the afternoon. Hopefully, this is just some of it. That's right before the eye wall made a direct hit by the Black River in Jamaica. So we had a landfall from this hurricane officially at 1 p.m. Eastern Time right by New Hope, Jamaica, which is close by the Black River. It had 185 mile per hour sustained winds at the time. The pressure was just ear-poppingly low in the 980s. I mean, 892, I should say. It's just absolutely amazing. 892. Something else. Now the pressure's gone up just a touch. Here to take us through it, we got another crack with Brian Norcross. And Brian, I'm looking at the satellite imagery right now, and it's not the same looking storm, even though it hasn't come down powerful-wise that much. It dropped like windfall, but it's still Category 5.
Well, yeah, and now it's over the mountains. You know, this is really a whole different phase of this storm. We watched it crawl along and crawl along and crawl along for so long, even yesterday, and then last night, it looked like, is it going to turn? Is it going to turn? And then finally it turned, and then it got picked up by that dip in the jet stream, and now it's kind of on its horse and moving pretty quickly across Jamaica. Here you can see it. This is last 12 hours, and you can see right in there, look, it was just this pristine, called annular, circular hurricane. Just you rarely see a storm like that in the Atlantic. Just generally isn't enough time, but the tremendous amount of heat in the water down here and just the atmospheric conditions it needed to crank up like that. And here it is moving over Jamaica. Now, as of the 2 p.m. advisory, 165 mile per hour winds are the estimated peak winds. Pressure coming up as the storm just generally weakens. You can see it on the satellite. Watch it kind of, a lot of dark in there because of the interaction with the mountains there. Now moving at 8 miles an hour to the north-northeast as compared to 2 or 3 tomorrow. It's 3 or 4 times as fast, and it is going to speed up even more. Here on the close-up, we can see the track kind of wobbled around right as it was making landfall, which is often the case, especially on islands that have a lot of high terrain on them. And watch closely here and watch the amount of kind of black in there showing the disruption in the winds. It just is not that perfectly oiled machine that it was. Let's look at the super close up here. I have this on a 2-hour loop. You can see it going right over New Hope. Let's go back to the landfall time, which was right about 1 o'clock, backing up to 1 p.m. here, and there we are. So at that time, the eye was just starting to fill with clouds. So you can see that the eye is sort of up here. So there's the circle, and that's why they called New Hope the landfall point. That's the center of the circle. But the top part of the eye, because of the friction with the land and bumping into the hills and mountains there to the north, was already beginning to get disrupted at that point. A little wider view here, you see where it is now. It's already almost halfway across the island. So this is going to move quickly here. So this is the worst part of the storm, right in there. And then all over here, the winds are all coming onshore. So we're still putting storm surge into Black River there on down to Treasure Beach, maybe on up to New Hope there. Then this is a fairly unpopulated part of the coast here, and some water is being pushed toward Kingston Harbor, but the winds in Kingston are not terrible, but just the water coming into the harbor is going to hold some of the water from running off the mountains from getting out. So on that whole south coast, as long as the wind is onshore, that's going to exacerbate the flooding from the fresh water that's coming down the hill. So we'll take a look at all that in one moment, but let's look at where this thing is and when it's going to be over. So there it is, still Category 5 hurricane. Here are the winds coming around like this, the strongest winds inside the hurricane force winds right here. So in Montego Bay, they're not probably in the core, but boy, it's close. And when the storm gets a little farther along, then it's really going to push Caribbean water up against that coastline right there. Here come the winds up this way. In Mandeville, 2,000 feet up, and we were talking about earlier, the hurricane hunters measured 250-mile-an-hour winds, about 1,000 feet up, maybe a little less than 1,000 feet up. So we're fearful for what's going on up there in those mountain communities. Mandeville is a pretty decent-sized city there, but obviously not at the coast. By about 4 p.m. today, according to the Hurricane Center forecast, the storm is right at the coast. At that time, the maximum push of water would be coming back around Montego Bay, but the storm is going away, so it's not the maximum push like you get on the south coast. But at this point, that's close to high tide, so the Montego Bay Airport right there on the water, not sure if that berm around it is going to be able to hold back that tide. Where Robert Ray is over here in St. Anne's Bay, that's in the hurricane force gusts, right on the edge of the hurricane force winds. Ocho Rios just out of it. And you see there's still going to be onshore winds coming around this way at Kingston at high tide, even though the tides don't fluctuate a whole lot there in the Caribbean. But still, that's going to be holding the water in Kingston Harbor to some degree and prohibiting water from running out, which could exacerbate the flooding over the land. So at 8 p.m. tonight, there are the hurricane force gusts just departing the north coast. That's Eastern time. Take 1 hour off for Jamaica local time and then moving away. So 2 a.m. in the morning, the winds should be dying down below tropical storm strength. And then we just have to wait until sunrise because I doubt there's going to be much power in Jamaica here once this storm is over. Maybe in the eastern part, they'll be able to see exactly what has happened in terms of the flood. So the flooding is the issue once the wind is gone because it takes time for the water that falls in the mountain to come down. And so the flooding can continue and can increase actually after the winds go by. You see there's the bullseye up in there, and we're talking up in the foot, maybe isolated 1.5 foot range left to go there. Another bullseye over here outside of Kingston. So that water is all going to come down through the Kingston metropolitan area there that falls on those mountains up there. Looking at Black River. Now, Black River is right down from the land.
That's great, guys. And cut.
Cool cars, right?
Yeah. I'll be back.
This is all kind of a beachy kind of area here with houses along the coastal road. I bet all that is all pushed in, or something bad is likely happening from Treasure Beach on up here. In between Black River and Treasure Beach, you can kind of make out that cliffy thing there. So this area right here is very, very low. So the water, storm surge water can go way in here. And also that's where the water drains out here and into the Black River out from the mountains here. So what exactly is happening in terms of the flooding, both from fresh water and from storm surge? I mean, we're just going to have to wait and see. We are seeing some video out of the town of Black River, which is elevated some, but there is a coastal component to it, and also the river and that low-lying area just to the east. So we'll just have to, we'll wait and see what happened there. In the Kingston metropolitan area, so this kind of valley here in front of the mountains is where Kingston is over here, and then you have Portmore in here, and Spanish Town up in here makes up the Kingston metropolitan area. We've seen an incredible video coming out of Spanish Town of the water rushing out of the mountains. So we'll just have to see once we get all video and all that water does start coming down. In terms of the storm surge, so the winds come around like this, and they're pushing it into this Black River over to, this is Portland Point here, this coast. Probably the maximum is right there in, this is St. Elizabeth Parish right there, probably maximum on that coast. Black River over to Treasure Beach, including maybe the New Hope area where the landfall was. So just into Westmoreland Parish over there. That's where the worst of the storm surge is, but some kind of elevated water all along this coast. And again, high tide comes this afternoon yet. And then as the storm exits on the top side, coming around this way, up to 4 feet above normal high tide. So exactly how that berm, how high that berm is protecting the airport, not sure, and the coastal road as well. So again, this is going to be a close call for impacts from storm surge unrelated to freshwater flooding and wind on that northern coast of Jamaica. All right, once it's past Jamaica, then moves on, of course, and this is eastern Cuba, Guantanamo Bay included, and the U.S. base there included, and also southeast Bahamas and central Bahamas, all under hurricane warnings, tropical storm warnings here, Haiti and Turks and Caicos. I didn't mention Haiti at the beginning, but those poor folks, I mean, they're still getting outer bands of this with still significant rainfall, maybe another foot of rain in Haiti. It's just they have really suffered, and we haven't really talked a lot about them, obviously, with what's going on in Jamaica. So here's the forecast for Cuba. The forecast, Hurricane Center is forecasting a Category 3 storm. Santiago de Cuba is a big city. There's Guantanamo Bay right there, Holguin up here, all another good-sized city, all in the way of this storm. And along the coast, they're going to get quite a bit of storm surge. Then it moves on to the Bahamas and eventually to Bermuda. And everybody going to have to pay attention, obviously, closely, even though the storm will be weakening, still a significant hurricane. Bob?
All right, Brian, thank you very much, because things are pivoting around just a little bit. Now we're starting to see you go over land, little interactions like you said, and then it's on into Cuba later on this evening. Brian Norcross, our hurricane expert, thank you so much. He's our specialist with hurricanes, and nobody better. Well, coming up, we've got some pictures out of Kingston, Jamaica. 81 degrees, gusty winds right here. But I'll tell you what, we've got a full core of a Category 5 storm west of there on land. It's unreal. We've got more videos coming up. We've got another live report with Robert Ray. We're going to hang on to him as long as we can until a shot goes down. That's all on Fox Weather. We are your Hurricane HQ.
I'm Jonathan Lawson, here to tell you about life insurance through the Colonial Penn program. If you're age 50 to 85 and looking to buy life insurance on a fixed budget, remember the 3 Ps.
The 3 what?
The 3 Ps.
What are the 3 Ps?
The 3 Ps of life insurance on a fixed budget are price, price, and price. A price you can afford, a price that can't increase, and a price that fits your budget.
I'm 54 and was a smoker, but quit. What's my price?
You can get coverage for $9.95 a month.
I'm 65, retired, and take medications. What's my price?
Also $9.95 a month.
I just turned 80 and I'm on a fixed income. What's my price?
$9.95 a month for you too. If you're age 50 to 85, call now about the #1 most popular whole life insurance plan available through the Colonial Penn program. Options start at $9.95 a month. That's less than 35 cents a day. You cannot be turned down because of your health. No medical exam, no health questions. Your acceptance is guaranteed. And this plan has a guaranteed lifetime rate lock, so your rate can never go up for any reason. Options start at $9.95 a month. Plus, you get a 30-day money-back guarantee. So call now for free information, and you'll also get this free beneficiary planner. Use this valuable guide to record your important information and give helpful direction to your loved ones with your final wishes. And it's yours free, just for calling. So call now for free information.
Call 1-800-253-3903 for your free information and your free gift. That's 1-800-253-3903. There's no risk or obligation. That number again is 1-800-253-3903. Call now.
This is the story of the one who knows well-prepared workdays take off smoothly and land right on time. That's why he counts on Grainger. With next-day delivery and professional-grade products, Grainger helps ensure he, his crew, and thousands of passengers fly through the day like clockwork. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Go ahead, close it. With Gusto, payroll and compliance are already done. Those extra 2 days every month since you switched? Unlimited payroll runs with no extra charge? Being able to pay your team instantly or the same day? Your taxes filed automatically? Music to your ears. Make time for what matters. Choose a future with Gusto. Get started for free at gusto.com.
Welcome back, everybody. Some updates coming in. 2 o'clock advisory. Remember, this thing made landfall an hour and a half ago, and it was in the lower part of Jamaica, right there by New Hope. And now it's starting to unwind just a bit, but the fact that it's lost 20-mile-per-hour sustained wind storm and it's still Category 5 is just a testament to how strong this beast was. Now, hurricane-force winds still extend out about 30 miles from the due center, and the eye itself looks like it's contracted a little bit, right? You guys are watching it with me, just south of the Montego Bay banner right there. So it has begun to shrink just a touch, but the wind field is still huge. You're still looking at a Category 5 storm right on the western edge of Jamaica. Where does it go from here? Back into the water, ultimately back into Cuba also. So here's what we watch, and you've got the pressure starting to go up again. Anytime the pressure starts to go up, it means it's losing some intensity, but the fact that it's still below 900 millibars is pretty insane since it's been over land now for about an hour and a half. The core started coming in about 3 hours ago. That's what you're looking right there, 165-mile-per-hour winds with higher gusts. Now, the National Hurricane Center says in the higher elevations, you could tack on 30% more winds on top of that when you get across the hilltops and the mountains. So that's more like 200-mile-per-hour winds at this point, highest elevations. It's going to be just a disaster. We're talking about trees down, power outages, communities isolated for who knows how long. Here's the official hurricane landfall stat. October 28th, today at 1 p.m., near New Hope, Jamaica. Category 5 storm, one of the most intense storms we have ever seen, one of the most intense storms we have ever seen make landfall. 892 millibars, that was the pressure, 185 miles per hour max sustained winds with higher gusts. Where's the fall on the list? And this is just not what we're talking about landfalling. You can see what it looks like. 185 mile per hour winds wouldn't have made that landfall. Tied for third for the lowest pressure ever recorded. And that happened to be when it was coming on shore in Jamaica. So let's go up there. We've got Robert Ray. He's camped out across the northern part of Jamaica. This video right here is a little farther to the west from where Robert is, but it's a testament to the wave action that's moving onshore along with the winds, and you can see the wavy nature right here of the trees and gusting. And now we've got the winds that are starting to pick up. We're going to see hurricane force winds there shortly within the next few hours. In fact, we were watching Robert Ray all morning long. It was not bad to start out the morning. We had cloudy skies, rain was in and out, but the winds were not a factor. Yeah, Robert, now it looks like you're starting to get the outermost rain bands picking up in intensity, the winds as well.
Yeah, we are, Bob, and it's been a very consistent rain for the past hour here, and yeah, every once in a while, a pretty good wind gust. Nothing at this point where, you know, you got to start going and bracing yourself. I expect that to happen at some point, but right now, we are good. And just so you know, I just lost IFB, Bob, but I'm going to continue to talk right now. I just heard it in my ear go off. You know, last time I talked to you, I was talking about how we're in this community where the roadway, we're on an incline here, about a quarter mile from the Caribbean Sea, and how with this persistent rain, we would start to see that water come down off of the mountains here in the distance and move pretty steadily into the sea. It's beginning to look like that right now. The sewer is still handling the water, but as this continues to go, it will not be like that, unfortunately, and that's where we'll see the inundation. But you're right, you know, so these really outer bands of after landfall are starting to make their way in here into north central Jamaica, where we are in St. Ann Parish, about 50 miles from Montego Bay, Montego to the west of us. You go out of this neighborhood that we're at right now and you get on the roadway, two-lane roadway, and it's flanked the entire time, or almost the entire time, with businesses, shops, and homes that are pretty much right on the Caribbean Sea. And all those resorts in Montego Bay, about 25,000 tourists are hunkering down and bracing for the impact. That is according to the Minister of Tourism Department, sent me a note earlier, and they're doing their best to ensure the health and safety of all those people that help feed the economy.
Premium meat for a natural diet.
Premium, gourmet, advanced. What do these really mean when it comes to your dog's food? It's marketing jargon that any brand can use. But what do we use? We use real high-quality ingredients, gently cooked with all the vitamins and minerals a dog needs. Our fresh food is made to human-grade safety standards, from recipes developed by on-staff, board-certified nutritionists. That's the truth. And that's why, after 10 years, we've fed millions of healthy dogs.
Move that water onward. It'll be a push into the land and into some of those structures I just mentioned on that two-lane road. And so you'll have water hitting on the lower end of the structures, and then you'll have a wind field that's coming in and ripping off roofs, which we've already seen down in the southwest corner where the landfall occurred. Montego Bay Airport will likely have some serious issues. So we can only hope and pray at this point that Kingston Airport, the city of 1 million people, the capital to the southeast of where we're at, about 60 miles, that the structures and the fundamental aspect of keeping that airport together, hopefully that is maintained, because that at this point in the aftermath of this is where aid will have to come into that will help people, because the power outages are mounting. We have no power at this point, and communications are going, and perhaps that's why what we call in the business IFB. So I can hear you, Bob, of our viewers watching. I can hear Bob Van Dillen in New York, and we could talk to each other. That is gone right now, and I'll have to call and click back in. But Bob, I can't hear you, but that is the current situation right now, and these winds and the rain will just continue to get worse in the hours to come.
Yeah,
Bob?
It's all good, Robert. I know you can't hear me, but thank you. All right, let's get into it real quickly, show you what it looks like, because I want to show you exactly where Robert is located relative to where the storm is, the center of it, and you can see right there, St. Ann Parish is where he's located. Here comes that eye. That's that circle moving in right around the Black River right there, going into the western part. So he's not going to get the direct core of it, but the entire core of the storm. We're talking about the eye wall. The entirety of a Category 5 eye wall is over western Jamaica right now. And those winds are screaming. You're talking 165-mile-per-hour sustained winds with higher gusts. You start talking about the mountains on the east side, the west side. You're looking at these winds gusting to over 200 miles per hour currently. I mean, that's right now. St. Ann Parish right there, you're outside of the major wind field for sure, but the heavy rain has been a big issue. Robert was talking about all the rain that's coming cascading down the mountains where he is. So some of those houses have already been covered up, he was saying.
It is Tuesday, October 28th, 2025. I'm meteorologist Brian Shields. Roughly around 9:30, 10 o'clock Jamaica time. As it is now making landfall, this has gotten worse. It is an even stronger system. Hurricane Melissa is now one of the strongest hurricanes on record. With that, winds are now up to 180 miles per hour, 290 kilometers an hour. It is moving to the north-northwest at 11 kilometers an hour, about 7 miles per hour. The pressure has dropped. A few days ago it was around 946, which is plenty low enough. When it drops, it is stronger. It is now below 900. The pressure is 896. That may actually bump up the winds eventually to around 185, but 180 to 185, this is a destructive and life-threatening situation as this continues to move in. You've done your part getting the word out, and now we are just kind of in some locations, as I've been letting my friends know, they are protecting themselves, really protecting their lives at this point in certain locations and doing the best they can as this works in. Right now, Westmoreland, St. Elizabeth, and Manchester, that's where this is coming on shore. Whether you're north of the eye, west of the eye, south of the eye, or east of the eye in this sector, that is the eye wall. That's where we have the winds of near 180 to 185 miles per hour, regardless of structure. That is a life-threatening situation. I was just when I was last in touch, I've lost touch with a lot of folks on the ground. When I was last in touch, I was getting a few questions in the western end about what to do, and I was messaging my friends. I said, wherever your safe spot is in your home, be it in the bathroom, a closet, interior room, best you can, have a blanket, maybe a mattress if you have one. If you have a bathtub, you may want to consider getting into it if it gets bad. These things can help kind of cover you up, right? If you have a blanket, a mattress, or anything of those means, pillows, if you will, and then maybe something to protect the head. There's not necessarily a lot of helmets around, but some sort of pop pan, something to just kind of shield your head best you can. Again, Westmoreland, St. Elizabeth, Manchester, a life-threatening situation right now as this is making landfall. Clarendon, as we work our way back toward the east, again, watching that as this lifts to the north, and Hanover, St. James, as we work our way toward Trelawney, St. Anne, we're going to see significant impacts, whether you're south or north. But in this area here, structure failure is likely if the structure simply just cannot withhold this. So again, this is a life-threatening situation. You want to stay low inside your home. If anything does collapse, you want to stay safe. And of course, stay together with this. It is going to be extremely noisy as well. And again, I'm not saying this to be scary. You know me. We don't typically have to discuss this kind of magnitude of things. You see it for yourself. This is moving in, and some folks are still able to get the word out in some spots. So in through here with the increase in winds, South Lamar back toward Black River, Treasure Beach, Mendeville, we're looking at 195 mile per hour gust out of this. Again, that is going to cause damage. Even if you're in a well-built structure that right along this area here in the parishes I was mentioning, there's still going to be damage in well-built structures, let alone the weaker ones. Then this will lift to the north, Montego Bay back toward Falmouth, over toward St. Anne. If you're anywhere in here, winds will be gusting 145, potentially 150 miles per hour as this moves in. Again, this is a worst case scenario. Roofs are going to come off of some homes where this is coming on shore. This is something we've talked about over the last few days, and other roofs that even stay on are going to take on some damage. And of course, it is going to be wet. It is going to be wet inside many homes. We are all with you in this weather community. That's why we do this. That's why we've been getting the word out together here. And I can't thank you enough for doing that, because this is where we stand now. And again, it's that life-threatening situation. We're looking at those winds here. This is not even updated yet. We're getting the information from the aircraft that's inside of this. Winds are up. Again, they are higher than this. They're up to that 180 marker, 290 kilometers an hour. I also want to take you down the road where this will go next. Still as a major hurricane in southeastern Cuba, and really pinpointing where in the Bahamas this will go. We'll cover that as well. Let's get back to some of those winds, though, that we're going to see. I want to get very specific with the winds. We're going to see this working in now. So we have landfall that is starting to happen. Landfall is when the center point moves on shore, anywhere from a Black River back through Treasure Beach. That is technically landfall, but the eye wall is already coming on shore. That is the worst of it. With it, we have that surge, which I'll also cover. This will be lifting its way right across northern sections of Jamaica, right by St. Ann by this evening, and then eventually tonight, working its way into southeast Cuba, still as a major hurricane, and then very close to Long Island and Crooked Island in the Bahamas. It's not going to hit all of the Bahamas, so I'll show you that as we go out in time, very specifically what we can expect with that. Now, here's the core of it. By the time we hit about 10 this morning, this may be a little bit fast and maybe a little bit more over here, but it gives you a feel, right? These models, forget that, right? Forget that. This just gives us a feel of what's going on because this is off the charts. The models have not picked up on how strong this is. So again, in this area here, we have those winds 150 to 180 along the coast. As it moves in, we'll see those strong winds again, all in this sector here where we're inside and we're kind of protecting each other in case we get the extreme damage that a lot of us are going to see. Not all of us. Keeping it in perspective, not all of us, but that damage that we are going to be taking on. We'll have that surge. You see that onshore flow this way, back toward Montego Bay, coming down this way. Again, I can't stress this enough. You know well that we have been preparing for about 5-10 days in some spots that this would be a threat for Jamaica. Then here, by the time we hit 1 o'clock, center starts to lift near St. Ann. Still those strong winds on the northern coast with the hurricane impact still. And then we're trying to get rid of this thing as we get into this evening. By 7 p.m., by around sunset time, this will be out of here. It'll still be breezy. It's going to be dangerous after the storm as well. Things are going to be down. There's going to be a lot of trees down. There'll be debris around. Keep those shoes on if you do have to venture around a little bit in certain locations where there are power lines. We need to watch out for those because even though the power lines may look like they're on the ground and they're not live, power's been out, so that makes sense. There could be some power still in some of those lines. Do not touch any of those power lines that are down. That would kill you immediately. So again, we need to watch out for some of the threats afterward, right? There's a lot of people out there that are going to try to send help and help out from various countries. I've been talking to several of our islands in the Caribbean, back toward entities in the United States that are trying to help out, and again elsewhere as well. We know that as we're trying to help out Jamaica and then parts of southeastern Cuba. And again, you don't want money necessarily getting into the wrong hands in these situations. There's going to be a lot of entities out there trying to raise funds. They may not be the correct entity. So I'll put a link of some well-vetted entities that if you would like to help out, you can. Again, watching this is 1 o'clock. Here's that eye wall again around it. It may be even a little bit later in the day as this lifts up towards St. Ann, where in Kingston we get some of the heavier weather. So it's going to actually get worse late morning, early afternoon in our eastern zones before it gets better. Then by 4, you can see it here, Falmouth back toward Port Maria, St. Ann, still on the cusp of those hurricane conditions here. After that, we start to get bigger improvements. We will have already improved in our southern zones, still windy, but then as we get into this evening and sunset, this will get out of here. We'll pick up forward motion, which is what we need. Now, as far as the winds are concerned, I've upped these winds, 100, maybe 185, just right where it comes on shore, Black River, Treasure Beach, right in through here. I've been highlighting all of the parishes in my prior video too, if you want to go back and take a look at that, and then swinging up toward Falmouth, Montego Bay. Again, winds of about 130 miles per hour, 100 as you get over toward Puerto Antonio, and about 110. Could be a little bit higher in Kingston. We should have some higher gusts. Again, we'll see some of it just kind of building. So most of us, the worst has not happened yet. The worst is starting to happen and moving in right here. But for the rest of us, it's still working in. This thing has been such a slow mover. And again, it is still lifting to the north. But in this core in particular, I'm so very concerned about our friends in this area. Again, with all the shelter that we've been doing and everything we've been preparing, again, most folks, it's going to be a rough go, but are going to be okay. But there are going to be those structures that do fail in certain circumstances. You've seen this before. Again, I know this talk it's not something I like to say, but we've seen it. We've seen it with Dorian. We've seen it with Beryl, especially as it rolled through St. Vincent and the Grenadines, not necessarily in Jamaica. This is way worse than what Beryl did for us in Jamaica last year, but we saw what happened when it was at its peak in parts of the Grenadines. As that moved by, this is more of the likes of a Dorian or of a Maria, something like that, and we've seen the scenes afterward. But that is why we together have been making those preparations because this was going to be so powerful. And again, communities will get cut off from each other. It's already hard. I've had a lot of folks in the comments section trying to reach out to other people. It is very hard to get through. I've lost contact, as I was saying earlier, with some folks on the ground. I'm not in Jamaica. I hope to be there soon after. But again, it is very hard to communicate at this point. And communities themselves, it's going to be really hard to get around, especially if you're in some of the higher terrain. I was over toward Peppa's in Montego Bay with a restaurant that's a little bit higher. And I'm thinking of the homes as you get back through there. Winds are a little bit stronger, and there's certain roads that kind of curve around. If there's rock slides, mudslides because of the rain, and then some of the wind debris, that could kind of prevent you from kind of getting to other communities as we go forward. Now, you can see the surge as this moves in, 2.5 to about 4.5 meters. It could be higher, 9 to 15 feet right in here. This is the spot we've been highlighting for days and days and days with that surge that is going to be working in. So watching that, there will be the surge again, everything kind of lifting in. That is the abnormal rise in the water, and then you have the waves on top of that. The rain, that is already panning out. Again, we've had intense rain. It's going to be more intense as this moves in. We'll see some totals once this is all said and done, upwards of 750. Most will be a little bit less, but some record-breaking levels of rain on top of this as well. Rain total significant in southeastern Cuba, but it will start to lessen because, as I mentioned, it picks up forward speed as it continues to lift its way back toward the north. Now, the winds we're looking at here in southeastern Cuba are about 120 miles per hour. Could be a little bit more, could be a little bit less. It depends on how much of the land interaction kind of impacts this as it rolls over Jamaica. And then we're looking at near Long Island and Crooked Island, winds of about 110 miles per hour. I'll show you the time frame on this, thinking of southeastern Cuba in this extreme part of the Bahamas. We're not looking at Freeport or New Providence. Turks and Caicos, most of this is going to be staying off toward the north and toward the west, where we'll have some gusty winds at times. But again, really Crooked Island and Long Island for some of those impacts, which I'll show you. And you can see again, it took that turn because of the front I've been mentioning. Thank you for your trust, because this sucker kept going west, and we saw that, and it was frustrating, it was painful, and I was mentioning it was going to turn. Thank you for your trust and continue with those preparations. It was because of a front I was seeing here that was eventually going to turn it, and that is exactly what happened. And then we'll see how close this gets to Bermuda. By the time it gets near the Atlantic region of Canada, it should be in different form. I'll show you that as well in this video. But again, it is right on track, that black line moving in, and then near Long Island, Crooked Island, as it passes over Cuba. Once we get into late tonight, early tomorrow, watching Bermuda, and then it should be in different form here as it lifts to the north and not nearly as strong. So powerful. Look at the models, how I mentioned those wind speeds, the stuff I was showing you. Almost all of the models have this with those wind speeds right in through here, but none of them are quite as strong as it actually is. But it is a powerful Category 5 hurricane right now. These models do different things. You could ignore those. There'll be that weakening because it's making landfall, so a little bit of weakening, then it runs into Cuba as we work our way into tonight. Winds could be over 120 depending on how this goes over Jamaica, but we've had some of the time to get the word out, and then eventually it'll work its way tomorrow still as a powerful hurricane. I mentioned winds 110, maybe 120, Crooked Island, Long Island. Thankfully, it will not be a surprise in the sense we're making those preparations. We see it coming, so we are finishing those preparations in that section of the Bahamas right now. So here are the winds, and as I mentioned, again, this is why I always talk about it. I don't just say, I want to tell you, I don't just look at the models. The models are so very off in this as far as how strong this is, and that's why I've been highlighting the preparations we've needed to do. But you get a feel of kind of the wind field in the position of this. This is by the time we get into this evening, pulling its way really as we work our way to sunset, after sunset, pulling its way back towards southeastern Cuba. We'll see that surge from the eye all the way back toward Guantanamo Bay. So watching southeastern Cuba for the hurricane impacts very late today, tonight more so. And then there's the center, and then by just after midnight, pulling offshore, and then it will head right toward Crooked Island and Long Island right here. You can see the Turks and Caicos. I mentioned some of the gustier winds, 40, 50 miles per hour. So we're looking at about 80 kilometers now. hour for some of the gusts, but the core of this hurricane is still a hurricane at this point. Will be in the Bahamas tomorrow morning and then eventually departing as we work our way into tomorrow afternoon. And then we'll monitor that down the road for Bermuda, which I'll show you in just a second. So here it is. By the time we get into the afternoon, the extreme hurricane impacts still throughout much of Jamaica. And then this center of this sitting, here's that core of that. And you can see the onshore flow and the rain already piling up back toward Cuba. And then the center will move its way toward Cuba. And you see some of the additional rain. Haiti and Jacmel, just got some good reports out of Jacmel. I was talking to one of my friends there this morning. He said they're doing okay, which is good news to pass along in many locations. You can see right here, there's the center of this. By the time we get into midnight, there's Guantanamo Bay, just to show you how close it is in extreme southeastern Cuba. And then here's Crooked Island, some other islands, a settlement back through there. We swing back toward Long Island here. Turks and Caicos, you can see most of this stays back toward the north and west. This would be by tomorrow morning, and then deeper into the day, it would continue its way out. And then watching it, I don't like when, things just kind of, track storm start to finish, right? Because some folks may say, hey, this is out to sea. Well, out to sea, well, no, there's Bermuda. So I'm watching Bermuda, as you well know, got you covered with that. This is the first front that grabbed it, the one I was talking about that turned it. There's a second area that's going to kind of drive it a little bit closer to Bermuda. We'll see how this shakes out, but if there are impacts in Bermuda, it'll be late Thursday. It's definitely going to be weaker. We know that. It'll be a short period of time. It's really going to be accelerating. Then the Atlantic region of Canada, we're going to see a storm system working in late this week. And this almost should all combine. So either way, we're going to get some heavier rain, but there's what's left of it as we work our way into Friday afternoon. But watching the Atlantic region of Canada and seeing how close some of this may get toward Newfoundland and the Avalon Peninsula, but it may just get tied together. So of course, we've been in action mode. We're finishing the preps, Long Island, Crooked Island, and areas nearby. We're still keeping a very close eye on things in the Turks and Caicos, and we are finished with those preps best we can in southeast sections of Cuba as this continues to move in. So you want to be in your absolute safest spot you could be in the parishes I've been highlighting in the last video and this video. I'm trying to give you everything I got. I know I'm stumbling on some words and things like that. Lack of sleep, as you well know. So trying to give you everything just to stay safe. Have those items with you when you're getting in your safe spot. We still have, we're out of time in Jamaica, but it just where you are in your safe spot, grab a blanket, some pillows, that sort of thing to have with you. Now, if you get in the eye, if you are in the eye with that period of calm, it'll be calm for about 10 to 30 minutes. So with that, this is important too. With that, we're going to see a change in direction of the wind. So here, let me show you what we're talking about here. Let me switch back to this. Here's the eye of it. If you're in this, so this will come over near Black River and Treasure Beach. If you're in that eye, a 10 to 30-minute window where it is actually calm. Now, in that period of time, right in here, there's most likely going to be severe structure damage. So what you could do if you're in those locations, and I know this message is most likely not reaching certain folks at this point. I get it, but even down the road in future hurricanes, if you get stuck in that eye, you have about a 10 to 30-minute window to kind of adjust, just kind of right where you are, help kind of prop things up best you can, maybe grab an extra blanket, albeit it may be wet, something like that to have where you. So you do have a little bit of a window, but here's the catch. As this starts to lift in, once the back end of the eye wall comes in, it's going to be just as destructive, but the winds are going to be in a different direction. So if you've kind of been bracing yourself for the winds coming this way, once the eye comes in and then passes by and we have the other side of it moving in, the winds are going to be coming from the other direction. These sound like little things. These are critical when you're kind of fighting for your life and walls have fallen on you. So the winds are going to come from the other direction. So be mindful of that with that 10 to 13 minute wind or 10 to 30 minute window we will have. But winds about 180 to 185 as this comes on shore. This community stands behind Jamaica and the other locations as we go down the road, southeast Cuba, parts of the Bahamas, as this will eventually work its way back to the north. Please know that there are so many people within Jamaica, outside of Jamaica, that are thinking of you, praying for you with this system that is moving in. So again, I'm hoping everyone sees this around the world. Sometimes these things make the headlines for about a week and then it kind of goes away. I'm not going to let that happen on this channel and with this weather community. Sometimes these things, and we saw it with Puerto Rico back in the day, where recovery can take months, if not longer, in spots. So I'll continue to update maybe links we could help, ways we can help out. I'll be talking to so many folks trying to get on the ground in Jamaica to see how we could help out when maybe this isn't making the headlines of mainstream media. So we got you covered right here, the best we can. I know, again, excuse me if I've been stumbling on things or saying things a little bit wrong, but just trying to get out the correct information with this as it continues to lift to the north. So the rest of today, it is going to be extremely, extremely scary at times in Jamaica. This community is behind you. Please, please stay safe.
NetCredit is here to say yes to a personal loan or line of credit, even when other lenders won't. Apply online in minutes and get funds deposited the next business day or sooner. Go to netcredit.com. NetCredit. Credit to the people.